Hi everyone. I'm making this video because I want to talk about the whole subjective versus objective issue regarding movies. There are people who claim that film is subjective, and there are others who say, no, film quality is objective. Well, my belief is that they are both partially right and both partially wrong at the same time. First off, regarding the saying, all art is subjective, not just about film, but art in general, not only is that not true, but it also throws standards out the window and can be used to excuse laziness and lack of effort and talent. And it's also disrespectful to the talented and hardworking artists who try to perfect their craft, because it devalues their skill and effort and would basically render their hard work meaningless. So yeah, film is not entirely subjective. There is a difference between enjoyability and quality, the latter of which is objective. To a large extent, but not completely so, and that's where it gets a bit tricky. Now, there may be a few exceptions here and there, though. For example, I think we can all pretty much agree that The Room and Superman 4: The Quest for Peace are terrible quality-wise. But for the most part, I would say for 99.9% of all films, even the more objective qualities of film are not always 100% objective, and different people will very often interpret films and their quality quite differently from other people. The other day on Twitter, I saw someone say, "You judge a film without bias by using criteria to judge a film. You rate a film based on every category of the film. Objectivity does not equate to fact. It just means that your opinion is unbiased." Now, I don't remember who said that, but it was pretty much spot on. Although I would change the word opinion to evaluation. And people's unbiased evaluations can be different, yet still equally valid. A lot of people in the film community don't realize this, and they take objectivity way too far, and end up being a very close-minded and often downright disrespectful to anybody who disagrees with them regarding the quality of a particular film. Now again, it's not entirely subjective. There are defined standards and criteria that are used to craft and critique films, and these standards are essential. However, upon applying those standards and analyzing and evaluating a final film's quality, many, or most, people will most likely agree on a particular consensus. For example, I think the grand majority of us can agree that The Godfather is a masterpiece. However, some individuals may end up with evaluations that are different from those of other individuals. It doesn't necessarily mean that any of those evaluations are wrong, invalid, or uninformed. Some of them may be, but most of them are not. It's just how it generally happens. The film's quality came off differently to different people, and those individuals each have their reasons, some of which may very well contradict certain reasons of the people they disagree with. So, say we have a film, some arbitrary film. You'll see a lot of people saying different things. Some people will agree with a lot of other people, some people will really disagree. Some people will say it's poorly written, some people will say it's well written. Some people will say the pacing is off, some people will say the pacing is good. Some people say the characters are poorly developed, other people say that the characters are complex and well developed, and so forth. So who's right? Well, they all are. Now, sometimes a film will have a flaw that is absolutely objective and undeniable, no matter how you try to debate around it. But very often that is not the case. For example, one person might find a film to have a particular flaw, another person might find the film to not have that flaw, and they both have their reasons and arguments. Two people might agree that a film has a particular flaw, but they might disagree on whether or not the overall film is good, or even how severe the flaw itself is. One person might find a particular film to be bad, but still subjectively enjoy it. Like Chris Stuckman, and he enjoys Lara Croft Tomb Raider, even though he finds it to be objectively bad. Another person, however, might enjoy the film, but also find the film to not actually be bad. Some people might find the execution of something in a film to have failed at what it was trying to do, and some other people will find it to have succeeded at it, or maybe to have succeeded at something else entirely, intentional or not. In regards to characters, one person might find a lot of the character's actions, behaviors, lines of dialogue, interactions, and so forth to be indicative of character development and growth, while some other people will find those same actions, behaviors, etc. to not be indicative of such things. Both interpretations are equally valid. Let's take an example. The film Weathering with You, directed by Makoto Shinkai. Some people think it's good, some think it's great, some think it's bad, or mediocre, or just okay, etc. I personally enjoyed it, and I found it to be okay to good quality-wise. Let's focus specifically on the characters. I've seen some people claim that the characters are well developed. I've seen and heard some people claim that they're poorly developed. I've seen some claim that Hodaka is well developed, but some of the other characters are not. I've seen some claim that Hina and Suga are well developed, but Hodaka is not, and many other different evaluations. So which evaluation is right? Well, they all are. All those people evaluated the characters differently, and they have their reasons. Some of them have even written lengthy analyses on the matter. And honestly, I can see where most of those people are coming from, even though I don't necessarily agree with all of them. Now, how did I evaluate the characters in the film? I found them to be decently developed. Not excellently developed, but decently. In fact, I wrote an entire analysis on the characters, a very long analysis, which I will display on the screen, and you can pause and read each slide if you want. This is my honest, informed analysis, partly subjective, partly objective. And I've seen some people say things that contradict what I wrote here, and that's fine, and they have their reasons. Now, going a little further, a lot of people, myself included, find the character Suga to be the best developed character in the film. And some people disagree. For example, YouTuber Anime Russ made a video reviewing the film, and he said that he finds Hodaka to be the most well-rounded character Makoto Shinkai has ever created. Some people find the romance between Hodaka and Hina to be kind of one-sided, while others find it to be well-balanced between the two characters. Personally, I'm somewhere in the middle on that. Some people claim that Hodaka and Hina have no chemistry and that their relationship is forced, while other people, including myself, claim that they do have chemistry and that their relationship is natural and organic. Now, I do think their relationship should have been explored and expanded upon a lot more, but I still think it's solid as it is, based on my own personal objective analysis of the film. Now, when I originally wrote and posted that analysis that you just saw, I got this in response. Yes, this. This guy just completely stomped on and devalued my analysis and evaluation of the film. He straight up ignored a lot of my arguments and essentially said I was wrong and that I was ignoring flaws and that I only cared about the characters because the movie told me to and all this other bull crap, all of which is not true at all. And this is exactly a type of closed-mindedness that I'm talking about in regards to taking objectivity way too far. Now again, I also don't like when people claim that film is entirely subjective, because it's not, but honestly, the extreme objectivists might actually be worse. Alright, now look, when you're talking about objective quality in film, before you say something along the lines of, it's okay to like that movie, but you have to admit that it's objectively bad, or how can people be so blind to this film's glaring flaws, or stop saying that those characters are well developed, they're not, and you only care about them because the film tells you to and emotionally manipulates you. Before you say things like that, seriously, just stop and think about what you're saying. Seriously, if you disagree with someone regarding the quality of a film, instead of disrespecting them and telling them that they're wrong or anything like that, you should try to understand their side and see where they're coming from, and why. And if you still can't understand them after listening to them, then just respectfully agree to disagree. That's the right thing to do. Let's take another example film, Frozen. I'm sure you've all heard of that film. Anyway, I've seen people claim that the film has many plot holes. I've seen others arguing back that those plot holes are explained in the film and therefore not plot holes. Now regarding that, some people could claim that they are poorly explained, and others could claim that they are well explained. I've seen people claim both. I've seen people claim that the pacing is off. Personally, I agree with that. Some of those people find the film to be bad or mediocre overall, not necessarily just because of the pacing though, but some people still find the film to be okay or good despite finding the pacing to be off. And I've seen other people claim that they don't have a problem with the pacing at all. I've seen people say that the film is better in the first half than the second half. I've seen people say the opposite. I've seen people say that the characters are well developed and complex, and I've seen others say that the characters are underdeveloped. I've read and listened to arguments on both sides of all of these issues, and I can understand where both sides are coming from, even though they're different. Now, for a specific example, let's look at the fact that one of the reasons why Elsa stays shut up in her room at the beginning of the film is because she doesn't want to hurt anyone with her powers. Now, some people have said that the film does a poor job of establishing this fact during the opening sequence. And I can see where they're coming from. Honestly, the only scene where this is firmly established in the beginning is where she says to her parents that she doesn't want to hurt them. I'm scared. It's getting stronger. No, stop. I don't want to hurt you. However, whether or not this scene firmly and powerfully establishes that will depend on the individual viewer. Personally, I think it could have been established a lot better, but I still think it was effectively established, given what they gave me. I could definitely infer it, with that scene combined with her reaction to accidentally hurting Anna, while they were playing earlier on, and I could feel the weight of it throughout the rest of the sequence. Right, now, one last quick arbitrary example. No particular film. If a particular film breaks the 180-degree rule at some point, then that rule is broken. No debate about it. It's objective. It's a fact. It's a thing. It happened. However, some people might find the breaking of the rule to be good in this case, and benefit the film somehow, and therefore not be a flaw. And for other people, it would just come across as an actual flaw, and not work in any good ways. So, in conclusion, when it comes to film, the subjectivists and objectivists are both right to an extent, and also both wrong to an extent. There is a difference between enjoyability and quality, and the latter is largely not subjective, but not entirely objective either. I apologize if this video was a bit long and winded, but thanks for listening. This has been annoying me for years now, and I'm glad I finally got to say it and get it off my chest. And there's a lot more that I could have said too, but I didn't. I pretty much only scratched the surface, and I could have gone into a lot more detail and depth. But I think this video is probably long enough at this point. Anyway, if you agree with what I've said, I'd love to hear in the comments an experience that you've had with someone, or saw a comment from someone, who took objectivity in film way too far. And once again, thanks for listening to me. If you liked this video, please give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel. And please share this video around with your friends and anyone else you know. And please share it around and get it out there. Thanks again. Goodbye.